Hari Om and welcome to all the divine Atmajyotis to today's session on Purna Yoga Darshana based contemplation. So we've been discussing various questions framed based on the Purna Yoga talks given by sriprabhuji. Right now we are contemplating the questions from the first talk given by sriprabhuji on Arjuna Vishada Yoga. And so far we have contemplated up to these first 12 questions, Mahabharata and you. So today we will take up the question from 13. So essentially in the second part of the talk, it is about Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita and what those characters mean and how you and I can relate to these various characters and why it is a significant text to study and contemplate and to implement. So let's begin with question 13. What's the difference between Ithihasa and Purana? So we'll begin from Shubhaji. Would you like to take up this question?
Yes, sir. Itihasa is nothing but history, if we put it in a common man's term. So we consider Ramayana and Mahabharata as our Itihasa. And when it comes to Purana, they are nothing but the true stories, which has happened. So true stories, we can say that Bhagavata, Devi Mahatmya, Upanishads, they are all the Puranas. So that is the difference between Itihasa and Purana.
Okay. Thank you, Shubhaji.
Thank you, sir.
Padma Amma?
Sorry, sir. I have a question. Shubha, you said Purana is something that happened before, and Itihasa, you said, is our Ramayana and Mahabharata.
Yeah, it's our history. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
History means that also has happened. Yeah.
That is the only.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hari Om. Difference between Itihasa and Purana. ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಶುಭ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಅದು ಚರಿತ್ರೆ, ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಅದು ನಡೆದಿರುವಂತಹದ್ದು. ಅದು ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಧರ್ಮ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳಾದ ರಾಮಾಯಣ ಮಹಾಭಾರತ, ಅದು ಇತಿಹಾಸ, ಅದು ನಡೆದಿರುವಂತಹದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಧರ್ಮ ಗ್ರಂಥವೂ ಹೌದು. ಅದನ್ನು ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಚಿಂತನೆಗೂ ಸಹ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೀಗೆ ಯಾವುದು ನಡೆದಿರುವಂತಹದ್ದು ಸತ್ಯ ಕಥೆ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಅದು ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಪುರಾಣ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸತ್ಯವನ್ನ ಕಥೆಗಳ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳುವಂತಹದ್ದು ಪುರಾಣ. ಇವಾಗ ದೇವಿ ಮಹಾತ್ಮೆ, ಭಾಗವತ, ಇಂಥವು ಪುರಾಣಗಳು. ಅವು ಸತ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸುವಂತಹ ಕಥೆಗಳು ನಿಜ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ನಿಜವೂ ಇದ್ರೂ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಒಂದು ಗುರಿ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸತ್ಯವನ್ನ ಹೇಳುವಂತಹದ್ದಾಗಿದೆ. ಇದು ನನಗೆ ತಿಳಿದಿರುವಂತಹದ್ದು.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಅಮ್ಮ. Krishnaji, what is your view?
It's quite similar, Jayji. So Ithihasa is the history which has happened earlier in our life, any time during any duration it has occurred, and someone has felt and observed, and it is transferred to us through book or through mouth to mouth conversation. Purana is something like it's also truth. It talks about the facts and the facts about real lives, but which is conveyed through a story, which need not to be a really occurred story. It can be a example story, but the intention of Purana is to explain the truth behind that and realize through a well-defined story. So that's how I'm seeing these two, the difference. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Krishnaji.
Thank you.
Savitri Amma?
Okay, sir. ಅಂದ್ರೆ what is the difference between ಇತಿಹಾಸ and ಪುರಾಣ? ಇತಿಹಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ರಾಜರ ಆಡಳಿತದ ವರ್ಣನೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರ ವಂಶಸ್ಥರ ಮುಂದುವರಿಕೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಂದೆಯ ನಂತರ ಮಗನ ಪಟ್ಟಾಭಿಷೇಕ, ಅವರ ಆಡಳಿತದ ಅವಧಿ, ಯಾವ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ರಾಜ್ಯದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಯುದ್ಧಗಳು, ಹಾಗೂ ಯುದ್ಧದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರಾಜ ಸೋತನು ಮತ್ತು ಯಾವ ರಾಜ ಗೆದ್ದನು, ಹಾಗೂ ಗೆದ್ದ ರಾಜನು ಎಷ್ಟು ವಸಾಹತುಗಳನ್ನು ವಶಪಡಿಸಿಕೊಂಡ, ಮತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಸಾವುಗಳ ವರ್ಣನೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇತಿಹಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಜರ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಸಾವುಗಳು ಯಾವ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದವು ಎಂಬುದರ ವರ್ಣನೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಇದೊಂದು ಧರ್ಮ ಗ್ರಂಥ. ಇದು ಇತಿಹಾಸವಾದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ಧರ್ಮ ಗ್ರಂಥ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೆ ಮಾನವ ಧರ್ಮ ಮತ್ತು ಇದು ಇತಿಹಾಸವನ್ನು ಮೀರಿದ್ದು ಮಹಾಭಾರತ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಪುನಃ ಪುನಃ ಘಟಿಸುವಂತಹದ್ದು. ಆದರೆ ಪುರಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಥೆಗಳ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ತತ್ವಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾರೆ ಅಥವಾ ತತ್ವಗಳ ಮೌಲ್ಯವನ್ನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಸತ್ಯವೇ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
Padmaji, are you back? Okay, all right. So Padmaji has someone at the door. Let's look at these two words. First of all, Ithihasa. Ithihasa. Thus it happened. That's what the word Ithihasa means. Thus it happened. Purana. Purana means Pura api navinaha. It may be old, but still it is new. That's the literal meaning of these words. So why is it so significant that Mahabharata and Ramayana are called as Ithihasa, and there are so many Puranas, and we have Bhagavad Gita? So when we think about life, life is to be lived. And it is while living that you and I want to have a certain experience of life. And what is the experience of life that you and I want? You and I want a pleasant experience, a nice experience, a wonderful experience, an experience that leaves a good taste, is it not? However, how to make it happen? So in order to make it happen, just like how if we have to learn to travel from place A to place B, and let's say we have a car, we have to learn to drive the car. To learn to drive the car means, first of all, I have to learn something about the car. I have to know the little bit of the, for example, how does a car function? What is the fuel that it takes? So some kind of a science about the car, and some kind of okay, so how these science has been applied to create that particular thing called as car, the technology, and I have to master the usage of it in various traffic conditions. That's all that is there to using a car in practice. So there is some science of it, there is some technology of it, and there is a implementation or a usage of it. So when you look at life in that sense, in order to live life, there is a certain fundamental aspects of life that we need to realize, which can be called as, let's say, the science of the life itself. In other words, what is the truth of life? Because science and truth, the pursuit of science is also clarity about the various fundamental aspects of life, nothing but the truths. So science are the truths of life, I have to realize. Then I have to realize how to use it in practice, which is the technology. Then I have to start using them. So like that, there are distinct levels. So Ithihasa, by showcasing stories that happened, that are real, in the sense of once upon a time, there was a person called Rama. Once upon a time, he did whatever that has been described in Ramayana. It is extremely important to have such stories which really happened. What is the value of that? The value of that is you and I relate to people around us and how they are living. You and I draw various lessons of life by looking at people around us. Like, there are so many phrases, right? Yatha Raja, Tatha Praja. How the king is, like how that particular people are. So we essentially are monkey see, monkey do. We see others and we learn, we mimic. So therefore, a life that has been lived in accordance to eternal principles of life has to be glorified, has to be preserved, has to be taken to everybody. So when it is said, let us do the prana pratisthapana of Rama in a temple called, in a place called Ayodhya, in a temple, it is not restricted to that particular physical place that, we are establishing some temple and it will have some magical power. It will, in a different way. But the most important thing is, any nation, for that matter, any community, for that matter, any one of you and me, we model our life based on what we see around us. So what is the principle of life? Who should be a worthy role model for you and me? Who should you and I emulate? It's very important. And how his or her life was very important to observe. So therefore, Ithihasa is a character study, is a study where it paints, look, this is how this fellow called Rama lived. This is what happened. This is the choices of life he made in different circumstances. Here is another character called Sugriva. Here is another character called Hanumanta. Here is another character called Ravana. Here is Putani. Like that, you start getting hundreds of characters and the choices they are making and the various circumstances of their life in which they are making these choices and what is happening, so that you and I can draw inference to your and my life and to understand what is the eternal principle and how to apply that in a real day-to-day context. That is the value of Ithihasa. It's to establish a path for you and me to follow. Because if this person called Rama lived so many thousands of years back, some 14,000 years is what some people say. And if his story has to be relevant today, there has to be some essence in it. So that's the value of Ithihasa. It gives you and me role models. It gives you and me eternal principles. Purana, like you already said, when the eternal principles have to be taught, it is easier in the form of stories. You and I have a natural inclination to listen to some story. There was Parvati and she created a boy and she asked him to stand outside. And Shiva also, and she said, I'm going to take bath, wait, no, let nobody in. Shiva came and this boy fought with Shiva and Shiva killed this boy. So, wow, wonderful story. It starts creating imagery in the mind. You and I are listening. We are creating those images in the mind. So this is one fundamental value, pure entertainment. So she created somebody and oh, what a magical lady. And then he fought with Shiva and why is he fighting with Shiva? Then he killed that boy and ayyo, so sad. Then this lady who could create him comes running and crying, "Ayyo, please help my son to revive." Somebody could give a life to that boy, and now she is only crying. What a contradiction in the story. So, like that, these Puranas are nothing but these stories which, at a first level, how can this happen? It said somebody, just in a flick of a finger, went from a place called Bhuloka to Swargaloka and was standing in front of Brahmaji. It doesn't happen in your life and my life. So all this must be, that's why somebody, when they don't understand, they simply call it as mythology. Myth means untruth. So Puranas are translated in English wrongly as mythology. Totally a wrong interpretation. Myth means false. Puranas, at a first glance, may appear like, oh, it doesn't happen in life. But there is a hidden thing. It is like when you have to give the medicine, you decorate it with nice pill, no? Especially for little children, when they don't want to eat some medicine, mothers know all these tricks. They mix it with something else. The bitter concoction is mixed with something else. It's like neem leaf is good for you. What to do? You cannot eat neem leaf alone. Okay, eat it with little jaggery. At least for the temptation of jaggery, you take a little bit. So like that, the truth is concocted with lots of these mystical and powerful and highly imaginative and highly poetic stories. But there is a hidden truth. So why would Shiva, all compassionate, kill somebody? What did he really kill? And after killing all that, he put back a head. Was he such a person that he doesn't know that this is a human and he has to put back an elephant's head? What is the elephant's head significance? What does cutting the head really mean? And what does the head of the elephant signify? Like that, Purana stories are a treasure trove of symbolism. There's a whole lot of symbolism in the Purana stories. What Prabhuji calls as what we see at the outside is one artha, which is our social artha of these stories. But there is a Gudha artha. There is a hidden meaning in these Puranas. So like that, it's a tradition of how to preserve the truth through Ithihasa and Purana. Please observe it. Ithihasa, Sri Ramayana happened some 14,000 years back, is what some people say. What story has survived for 14,000 years? And it is said that the Purana stories were there also. Yeah, even during that time also it is there. So some 14,000 years itself, these things have preserved. It is not that, in those days itself there was paper, computer. It was recorded. Who recorded? How it transmitted? Look at the beautiful application of technology here. Our rishis and munis identified that human beings resonate with stories. We resonate with other human stories. So through the stories, essentially both Ithihasa and Purana are in a way stories. Through the stories, the most important value, the truths of life have been preserved. They have been wrapped inside these stories. Practical usage has been given inside these stories. The choices of these people in these stories is the essential choices that you and I have to make day in and day out. We just have to change the context a little. And that is the value and the beauty of our Ithihasa and Purana. While Bhagavad Gita gives it without any kind of a wrapper around it. Bhagavad Gita is Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, they're all without the wrappers, without all these elements, pure science. E is equal to mc square. How to derive E is equal to mc square? what is the integral calculus involved, what is the differential calculus involved. Some of us may be snoring when we start talking like that. But when the same E is equal to mc square can be, you know what, there is mango, and the mango when you eat, you can run. Oh, nice. Wow. The same mango I can run. How? Oh, the mango in it, something called as energy. And when you eat, it becomes energy. Oh, really? How? So you see, suddenly some wonder gets created through a little bit of a modification to that way of telling. So that's the value of Ithihasa and Purana. Hari Om. Padmaji, is there something that you would like to add?
No, sir. I think everyone has spoken about it. It's same, yeah.
Wonderful.
Can take up the next question, sir.
Yeah. So let's contemplate on number 18. So there are 18 parvas in Mahabharata, 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. You may also notice 18 in other contexts in and around you. So what may be the significance? Again, Prabhuji also has spoken a little about it in the first talk. So would like to listen to each one of your viewpoint on significance of 18. Shubhaji?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. 18 is a very important number in our culture. 1 and 8 adds up to 9. So anything that multiples of 9 adds up to 9. So that is one thing. And secondly, we have 5 jnanendriyas, 5 karmendriyas, Shat Sampati, Vidya, they all add up to 18. And then we have 18 steps in Shabrimala. It signifies each this thing, the number 18, and 18 Akshohini soldiers in the Mahabharata war. Personally, I don't know if I feel that 1 and 8, 8 is nothing but infinity. So I feel the message behind 18 is I am infinite. 1 signifies the I, 8 signifies the infinity. So I feel we are infinite is the message which Krishna is trying to tell us, and recognize the self in you is the message I personally took from this 18 number. Thank you, sir.
Very nice. Thank you, Shubhaji. Padma Amma?
ಶುಭಾಜಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನು ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದನ್ನ ಸಹ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಅದೇ 1 + 8 ಅಂದ್ರೆ 9, ಅದು ಪೂರ್ಣ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹತ್ವ ಇದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿಗಳು ಹೇಳಿರೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅದು 18 ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 5 ಜ್ಞಾನೇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳು, 5 ಕರ್ಮೇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅರಿಷಡ್ ವರ್ಗಗಳು, ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅವಿದ್ಯೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಸೇರಿ 18 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಜಯದ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಅಂತಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 18 ಈ ಮಹಾಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. 18 ಪರ್ವಗಳು ಇದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ 18 ಅಧ್ಯಾಯಗಳಿವೆ. ಸಾಂಖ್ಯಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅದು ಜಯ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 18 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಯುದ್ಧದಲ್ಲಿ 18 ಅಕ್ಷೋಹಿಣಿ ಸೈನ್ಯ ಯುದ್ಧ ಮಾಡ್ತು ಪಾಂಡವರ ಕಡೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್.
ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಮ್ಮ. ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಜಿ?
Yeah. I'm also going to this quite similar. So number 18, there are again chapters 18 in Mahabharata and 18 chapters in Gita, and as per Prabhuji talks, like Mahabharata, as per the numerology, the word Mahabharata is a constitute numerology number of number 18, and which refers to the victory. And victory means what is the victory here is like victory of dharma over adharma. And also Prabhuji referred 18 steps in Sabarimala, which also represents 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas and 6 Rishatvarga and 1 Vidya and Avidya. So, yeah, again constitute like what are the number of 9 when it's divide multiples of that 18 again 27, it's going to come as 9. So yeah, that's my understanding. So 18 is victory and it's all significance in our life and with Jiva. That's my understanding and interpretation.
Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you.
Savitri Amma.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಸ ಮಹರ್ಷಿಗಳು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಜನರು ಕೂಡ ಬರೆಯಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯಾಸ ಮಹರ್ಷಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಭಗವಾನ್ ವಿಷ್ಣುವಿನ ಅವತಾರ ಪುರುಷರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣನೊಂದಿಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಸ ಮಹರ್ಷಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯನ್ನು ಬರೆಯಲು ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಅವತರಿಸಿ ಬಂದರು ಅಂತ. ಈ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ 18 ಅಧ್ಯಾಯಗಳಿವೆ ಮತ್ತು 700 ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳಿವೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಯುದ್ಧದ ವಿವರಣೆಯನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕವಾಗಿ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಸ ಮಹರ್ಷಿಗಳು ವಿವರಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ 18 ಅಧ್ಯಾಯಗಳು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ನಂಬರ್ 18, ಇದು ವ್ಯಾಸ ಮಹರ್ಷಿಗಳ ಅದೃಷ್ಟ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಅಂತಾನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಯುದ್ಧವು ಕೂಡ 18 ದಿನಗಳ ಕಾಲ ನಡೆಯಿತು. ಹಾಗೂ ಶಬರಿಮಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ 18 ಮೆಟ್ಟಿಲುಗಳಿವೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನಂಬರ್ 18ರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಮಹಾಭಾರತದ 18 ಅಧ್ಯಾಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಅಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮವು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ 5 ಜ್ಞಾನೇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳು ಮತ್ತು 5 ಕರ್ಮೇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳು, 6 ಅರಿಷಡ್ ವರ್ಗಗಳು ಮತ್ತು 1 ವಿದ್ಯಾ ಮತ್ತು ಅವಿದ್ಯ, ಈ 18 ತತ್ವಗಳಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಈ 18 ಅಧ್ಯಾಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈ 18 ತತ್ವಗಳು ಅಡಗಿವೆ ಅಂತ. ಇನ್ನು ಮೊದಲನೆಯ 6 ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ ನೀನು ಯಾರು ಅಥವಾ ಜೀವಾತ್ಮನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿವರಣೆಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿರುತ್ತಾರೆ. ನಂತರದ 6 ಅಧ್ಯಾಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಭಗವಂತ ಅಥವಾ ಈಶ್ವರ ಯಾರು ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಿರುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಕೊನೆಯ 6 ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ನೀನು ಒಂದೇ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಗವಂತ ಮತ್ತು ಜೀವಾತ್ಮ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಒಂದೇ, ತತ್ವಂ ಅಸಿ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಿರುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೀಗೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಈ ನಂಬರ್ 18 ಇವೆರಡು ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಪೂರಕವಾಗಿವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಸರ್.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಅಮ್ಮ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
ಪದ್ಮಾಜಿ.
I think, sir, everyone has summed up mostly. What I would like to add here is, like, even when we are mentioning about the 18 steps in Sabarimala, or when Shubhaji spoke about the 5 Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas and all. What is my take from this is, the essence of all this is the magical number and all this. And where we say that on the 18th day is when Duryodhana was killed by Bhima. And that is how that basically signifies at a major level of the victory of dharma over adharma. But to get that clarity and to function like that is where we have to have the control of all this Jnanendriyas and the sense organs. So how does that come? Like even when we go to Sabarimala, the 18 steps is the final when you reach there. But before that, there is a practice where they do not do many things for the initial 45 days leading up to the when they actually visit the temple. So that is basically to purify our mind, to keep all the sense organs under our control, to not to go within rather than to go external. So I think even Bhagavad Gita as such is directing towards how to go within to actually get the clarity, because to get free ourselves from all the confusions and all the attachments we have to the external world. So that is the significance of what he's trying to say, I feel, sir.
Wonderful. If you look at our typical social life, when do we call someone adult? When they turn 18. Across the world, how did this magical number come about? That's just how it is. Don't you notice? Somewhere around this time, there is a major transformation in how one looks at life. So usually around 7 is when we say they're ready for certain kind of formal learning. And 18 is when we also say now they can make independent choices. Meaning what? They are now ready to live in life on their own, make choices, and depending upon that, have their own journey. So what happens between the 0 to 18? Between the 0 to 18 is where all the learning happens, is where all the growing up happens. What does this growing up really means? In a way, that is what you see in the Mahabharata story. Various kinds of trials and tribulations, situations that come to both Kauravas and the Pandavas, and the kind of choices they make. And through that choice, what kind of situations they have to go through, and what it all ultimately leads to. In a similar way, what does your and my life ultimately means? Where is it going? See, we simply get up and we live our life. Where am I going with my life? What is that I want out of my life, your life? It's a very important and significant question. So some people say, for example, especially those who are in the deathbed, and there are people who nurse them. There are some what are called as hospice hospitals, where typically people who are terminally ill during their last few days, they are taken care in such hospitals. And there are these nurses and doctors who get involved. And they say it's a very emotionally challenging environment. Because most of the people who are about to go away from life, about to disappear from life, what is that they carry? What is that they feel that, I have not done? So it gives a very important message to you and me also, in terms of how you and I should look at what should be the focus of my life. It is said that most people during their terminal days don't talk about their degrees, don't talk about their whatever the possessions, don't talk about their gold, silver. Most often, it is said that their grievance is about, I wish I get a chance to say this to somebody who I hurt. I wish I can go and say, sorry, I hurt you. So there's a sense of guilt that one carries through their life. And most often, there's also a sense of gratitude. I really wish I don't know how I really was, but I really wish I could have expressed my gratitude to my mother, to my father, to others around me. Most people seem to carry just these little feelings. I just wish I had expressed my love a little more. I just wish I could have offered little more, is all that they feel towards the end. So like that, what is that this 1 and 8 should mean to you and me? How Shubhaji put it beautifully, there is that one eternal principle that operates as all these 8. unless you and I realize that, we will continue to live life in shame, guilt, worry, tension. So how to really come out of this prison of this shame, guilt, worry? So there is a step-by-step process, no? A seed cannot become a tree and yield mango one day. That is not how life functions. There is a step-by-step way. And the step-by-step is what each of these great works are showing also. Through the 18 parvas of Mahabharata, because each parva's name is very important, and the essential truth of each of the 18 chapters by the name itself. So that is how you and I should progress in terms of understanding of life, in terms of how to apply that in life. So in fact, the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita fundamentally boil down to these three key messages. What is that? The first 6 chapters are about the Tvam, the next 6 chapters are about the Tat, and the last 6 chapters are about the Asi. Tvam, about you and me. What is the real essence of you and me? So in a way, it can be thought of as the Atma Darshana, realizing who I am truly. Atma, the word Atma means that essential which cannot be divided any further. Body can be divided into 100 different parts. Your life can be divided into 100 different segments: childhood, adulthood, teenage, like that. What is that cannot be divided any further is Atma. And that essence is you. And when I use it in terms of cannot be divided any further, it is as if like a matter. But Atma is the Chaitanya, is not an inert substance. So the first 6 chapters are about that, realizing about you and me, the essential aspect of you and me. The next 6 chapters are really about the Tat, about that essential aspect that we call as that. What do we call as that? Something that is not me, isn't it? Something that is not me is what we generally refer as that. Something that is me, I refer as me, mine, I. Something that is not me, that. So what is the essential truth of that, which is all pervading, is the focus of the next 6 chapters. And the last 6 chapters bring the unification of this, that these are not two separate things. The essential element that is you, Atma, and the essential element of that which we can call as Brahma. Atma and Brahma are not two. So, Ekam Advitiya, that one which has no other parallel, and that one which is appearing in all these distinct, infinite manifestations. Hari Om. Any questions or anything else on this particular question? Or any other statements anybody wants to add? All right. So then we'll move on to the next question. This is about the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So far we've been chanting the shlokas of the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So again, what is the significance of this chapter to you can be the primary focus. And while you are sharing your view, you can also use these other questions. Who all are speaking in first chapter? First chapter is probably the only chapter where you will see many speaking. Subsequent to that, you'll mostly hear only 2 people speaking, and in between somewhere Sanjaya speaking. Otherwise, it is mostly Krishna Arjuna Samvada in rest. But in the first chapter is where few more have spoken. And according to you, what is the main theme of first chapter? And what can be the life lessons that you would like to carry from first chapter? Shall we begin with Shubhaji?
Yes, sir. Who all are speaking in chapter 1? It's Arjuna, Krishna, and Sanjaya. I don't know if I missed out anybody else, sir.
Duryodhana?
Yeah. Yes. So what's the main theme of chapter 1? The main theme.
Dhritarashtra?
Yeah, Dhritarashtra Uvacha. How can I forget? Yeah. Yes. So the main theme of chapter 1, according to me, is Arjuna is in distress and Krishna is helping him out of the distress. So if I have to take it in my own life, it's nothing but we all go through these problems in life. We are constantly facing some problem or the other in our life. So this this first chapter gives us a gist of how to go on with our lives without getting attached to anything. So all these characters in the Mahabharata, we face such characters in our lives too. So this particular chapter tells us how can we solve all these problems in our life? How can we face all these problems in life? And this can be done when we solve the problem inside us. Then when we solve those problems inside us, automatically the problem outside gets resolved. So success and failure are all part of our life, and how we handle it and how we take it, all these life lessons are there in the first chapter. That is the small explanations. Thank you.
Thank you, Shubhaji. Padma Amma, how do you see chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga?
ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಶುಭಾಜಿ ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಧೃತರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ, ಸಂಜಯ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅರ್ಜುನ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ದುರ್ಯೋಧನ ಹೇಳಿರೋದನ್ನು ಸಹ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಿ ಅಮ್ಮ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ನೀವು ಕಳೆದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ,
ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಸರ್. ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಹೇಳುವಂತದ್ದು ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದಿರಾ. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲಾನು ಸಾಕು ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಮ್ಮ, ಯಾ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಅಮ್ಮ.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ ಪಾಂಡವರ ಕಡೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೌರವರ ಕಡೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಸೈನ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರಾದಂಥವರೆಲ್ಲನೂ ಶಂಖಗಳನ್ನ, ನಗಾರಿಗಳನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೊಳಗಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಮೊದಲನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಭೀಷ್ಮ ಮೊಳಗಿಸೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಾಣ್ತೀವಿ. ಅವರು ಕೌರವರ ಕಡೆ ಮೊಳಗಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ, ಹೀಗೆ ಎರಡು ಕಡೆಯನ್ನು ಅವರು ಶಂಖಗಳನ್ನ ಮೊಳಗಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಪಾಂಡವರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಎಲ್ಲ ದಿವ್ಯವಾದ ಶಂಖಗಳನ್ನ ಮೊಳಗಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದಿವ್ಯವಾದ ಶಂಖ ಅಂದಾಗ ಅದು ಅಲೌಕಿಕವಾದದ್ದು. ಅದೇ ಭೀಷ್ಮರು ಮೊಳಗಿಸಿದಂತಹ ಶಂಖ ಅದು ಲೌಕಿಕವಾದದ್ದು. ಅವರು ದುರ್ಯೋಧನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಸನ್ನಗೊಳಿಸುವುದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವರು ಮೊಳಗಿಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ದುರ್ಯೋಧನ ಕೌರವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಯಾವುದರ ಸೂಚಕ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಜೀವಿ ನಾನು ಈ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಬದುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಈ ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡುವಂತ ಈ ಐಹಿಕ ಸುಖ ಭೋಗಗಳನ್ನ ಅನುಭವಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾನಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅನ್ನುವ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಜೀವಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಅವನು ಹೊರಗೆ ಆ ಕೌರವರು ಹೊರಗಿನ ಪ್ರಪಂಚಕ್ಕೆ ಅಸೀಮಿತವಾಗಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಜವಾದ ನಾನು ಯಾವಾಗ ಜಾಗೃತವಾಗುತ್ತೋ, ಮೊದಲನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಶಂಖವನ್ನ ಮೊಳಗಿಸಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅದು ದಿವ್ಯವಾದಂತ ಶಂಖ, ಅದು ಅಲೌಕಿಕವಾದದ್ದು. ಯಾವಾಗ ಈ ಜೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನನ್ನ ಹೊರಗಿನ ಪ್ರಪಂಚಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಒಳಗಿನದು ಬೇರೆ ಇದೆ, ಇದು ತಾತ್ಕಾಲಿಕ ಅಂತ ಅಂದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೋ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಅರ್ಜುನನಾಗ್ತಾನೋ ಆಗ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಜಾಗೃತನಾಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಆಗ ದಿವ್ಯವಾದ ಶಂಖವ ಮೊಳಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಈ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನನಗೆ ಕಂಡು ಬಂದಿದೆ ಎರಡು ಬಣಗಳಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದು ಮೇನ್ ಥೀಮ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲೇ ನಾ ಹೇಳಿರೋದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ಅದು ಒಳಗೊಂಡಿದೆ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡೂ ಇದೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಹೊರ ಪ್ರಪಂಚಕ್ಕೆ ಸೀಮಿತವಾಗಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ನಾನು ಗಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ನಾನು ಸುಖವಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಓದ್ಬೇಕು, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಆಗ ಸುಖ ಭೋಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಶಾಶ್ವತವೇ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಅದು ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾನೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಒಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಳಿದಾಗ ನಿಜವಾದ ನಾನು ಯಾರು, ನಾನು ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪಿ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಆ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಅವನು ತಿರುಗುವುದು ಅಷ್ಟೇನೆ. ಈ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಐಹಿಕ ಭೋಗಗಳ ಇಂದ ನಾನು ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ದರ್ಶನ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಆಗ ಗುರುವಿನ ಕೃಪೆ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಗುರು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಥೀಮ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳಿದು ಬಂದಿದೆ ನಂಗೆ. ಲೈಫ್ ಲೆಸನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಐಹಿಕ ಭೋಗಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ ಹೌದಪ್ಪ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಶಾಶ್ವತವಾದ ಸುಖ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಂಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇನ್ಮೇಲೆ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಇದೆಯಾ ತಿರುಳು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೋಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಅರ್ಜುನನಾಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ತಯಾರಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹರಿ ಓಂ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಕೃಷ್ಣಜಿ.
Yeah. So chapter 1 and 2. So the characters who are speaking in chapter 1 are Sanjaya, Arjuna, Dhritarashtra, and Krishna. So those are all speaking, and the main theme, what I say is of the chapter is it's a grief of Arjuna. He's getting confused and he got blocked in the battlefield what to do, and he doesn't know. He's in a confused state. He couldn't differentiate between who he really is and what is this life about. He got identified with his all his senses, and he's worried. So that's a main theme. And then he asks the questions to Sri Krishna, and then Sri Krishna explains his who truly you are, and that's how the main theme goes on in the chapter 1. So life lessons for me in the chapter 1 is we as a human being also same like Arjuna, like we got mostly identified to the external life and through all our five senses, and most of the time we are lost with the Atma, like who we are got disconnected, and then we go into we are behaving like a Dhritarashtra, the blind king, who is not really understanding who we are, and going upon to the external thing which is infinite, like it will keep on coming back and creating lot of karmas and causing a lot of problems. So as like Arjuna, we are here, and once we come to the state of Arjuna, it is then we ask questions, and Sri Krishna, like gurus we seek for, and then Guru comes like Sri Krishna and clearly helps how Arjuna gets help and perform his duty. So through in personal life, through gurus, we are able to distinguish and get clarity of who we are and what is dharma and what are you supposed to do, and do that instead of performing actions as an which leads to karma and which is mostly attached to the selfishness. Instead, perform all the actions understanding the true self, that is atma, you, and perform every action as yajna. That way you are truly that. Whatever else you do as a part of the expectation or happiness which is come from five senses, which is going to create a lot of karma, and it is going to be endless cycle, and perform everything as yajna, which will unites with the consciousness. So that's a life lesson I've learned, and that's a overall understanding of chapter 1 and with me. Yeah, that's all I had.
Thank you, Krishnaji.
Thank you.
Savitri Amma?
Okay, sir. ಅಂದ್ರೆ who all are speaking in chapter 1? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಧೃತರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ, ಸಂಜಯ ಮತ್ತು ಅರ್ಜುನ ಇವರುಗಳು ಈ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ 1ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಭಾಷಣೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಇದು ಸಂಬಂಧಪಡುತ್ತೆ, ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶಗಳು, ಇಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೇಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಡುತ್ತವೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಯುದ್ಧ ಇದೊಂದು ಧರ್ಮ ಮತ್ತು ಅಧರ್ಮದ ನಡುವೆ ನಡೆಯುವಂತ ಯುದ್ಧವಾಗಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಜುನ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಅವನು ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಸುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಜುನನೇ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅಥವಾ ಭಗವಂತ ಅವನು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪಿ, ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮ ಹಾಗೂ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಎರಡು ಒಂದೇ ಅಂತ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ಪುರುಷ. ನಮ್ಮ ಅಂತರಂಗದಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ ನಡೆಯುವಂತ ಈ ದೇಹ, ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಚಿತ್ತ, ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ನಾನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅಂತ ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಇಳಿಯುತ್ತವೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಮೋಹ ಬಂಧನಕ್ಕೊಳಗಾಗಿ ಸತ್ಯ ಧರ್ಮವನ್ನು ಮರೆತು ಅಸತ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಅಧರ್ಮದ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದಾಗ ಈ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಆತ್ಮವು ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನು ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡುತ್ತಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ ಈ ಗೀತೆ ಹೇಳಿಕೊಟ್ಟ ಜ್ಞಾನದಿಂದ ನಾನು ನಾನಲ್ಲ, ಈ ದೇಹ ಮನಬುದ್ಧಿ ನಾನಲ್ಲ, ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದಾತ್ಮ ಶಿವ ನಾನು ನಾನೇ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳುತ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ. ಇದು ಮೊದಲನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಸರ್. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಈ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಯುದ್ಧದ ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶವು ಕೂಡ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣನ ರಥ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದ ರಥ ಇದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ದೇಹವೆಂಬ ವಾಹನ ಇದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಅದರ ಚಾಲಕ ಭಗವಂತ, ಮತ್ತು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಕಟ್ಟಿದಂತ 5 ಕುದುರೆಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ 5 ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳು, ಮತ್ತು ಈ 5 ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿಡಿತದಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಗವಂತನೇ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನಡೆಸುವವನು ಅಂತ ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಂಡು ಸತ್ಯ ಶುದ್ಧ ಕಾಯಕ ಮಾಡುವುದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ, ಹಾಗೂ ಫಲಾಪೇಕ್ಷೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ನಿಷ್ಕಾಮ ಕರ್ಮವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಎಂದು ಅರ್ಜುನನ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಭಗವಂತ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಜುನ ಬಂಧು ಬಳಗದವರನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಕೊಲ್ಲಲಿ ಎಂದು ಮೋಹಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಒಳಗಾಗುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಆಗ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾನೆ, ನೀನು ಕೊಲ್ಲುವುದು ಅವರ ದೇಹವನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ, ಆದರೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಆತ್ಮವನ್ನಲ್ಲ. ಆತ್ಮ ಅದು ಶಾಶ್ವತ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕೊಲ್ಲಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಈ ದೇಹ ತ್ಯಾಗದ ನಂತರ ಆತ್ಮ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ದೇಹವನ್ನು ಪ್ರವೇಶಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಸಾವು ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ನೀನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರನ್ನು ಕೊಲ್ಲುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತು ನೀನು ನಿನ್ನ ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯ ಧರ್ಮವನ್ನು ನೀನು ಪಾಲಿಸು. ಅಂದರೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ನೀನು ಮಾಡು, ಅಥವಾ ನಿನ್ನ ಕರ್ಮವನ್ನು ನೀನು ಮಾಡು. ಅಧರ್ಮದ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಹೋರಾಡುವುದೇ ನಿನ್ನ ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯ ಧರ್ಮದ ಲಕ್ಷಣ, ಅಥವಾ ನಿನ್ನ ನಿಜವಾದ ಕರ್ಮ. ಅವರು ನಿನ್ನವರು ಎಂಬ ಮೋಹಕ್ಕೆ ನೀನು ಒಳಗಾಗಬೇಡ. ಮೋಹದಿಂದ ಮುಕ್ತನಾಗು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ನಿನ್ನವರಲ್ಲ, ಈ ದೇಹವೇ ನೀನಲ್ಲವೆಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವರು ಹೇಗೆ ನಿನ್ನವರಾಗುತ್ತಾರೆ? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀನು ನಿನ್ನ ನಿಷ್ಕಾಮ ಕರ್ಮವನ್ನು ಮಾಡು ಎಂದು ಭಗವಂತ ಅರ್ಜುನನ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಮಗೆ ಈ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾನೆ.
ಅಮ್ಮ, ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯಗಳ ಸಾರಾಂಶವನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಈ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಈ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಉಪದೇಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ? ಈಗ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ನಿಷ್ಕಾಮ ಕರ್ಮ ಮಾಡು, ತ್ಯಾಗ ಮಾಡು, ಈ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಶ್ಲೋಕದ ಮೂಲಕ ತಾವು ಈ ತರ ಗ್ರಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ಸರ್ ನಾವು, ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಅದೇ ಒಂದು ಇದರಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ನನ್ನವರನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಕೊಲ್ಲಲಿ ಅಂತ ಅವನು ರೋಧಿಸುವಾಗ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವರು
ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ
ನಿನ್ನವರನ್ನು
ಮೊದಲನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ?
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಗೆ ಕೊಲ್ಲಲಿ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಜುನ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರು, ರಕ್ತ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರು, ಅವರನ್ನು ನಾನು ಕೊಲ್ಲುವುದು ನನ್ನಿಂದ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಜುನ
ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ.
ರೋಧಿಸುವಾಗ
ಅಷ್ಟೇ
ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಹೌದು
ಆದ್ರೆ
ಸರ್.
ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾನ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಮಾತಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬರೀ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಜುನನ ವಿಷಾದ ಯೋಗ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಹಾ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇವಲ ಅರ್ಜುನನ್ ವಿಷಾದ ಇದೆ.
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಉಪದೇಶ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣನಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೂ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ.
ಬರೀ ಅವನ ಹೇಗೆ ಕೊಲ್ಲಲಿ, ಇವರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಗೆ ಎದುರಿಸಲಿ ಅಂತ ತನ್ನ ವಿಷಾದವನ್ನು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸ್ತಾನೆ.
ಹೌದು, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮುಂದಿನ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯಗಳ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ವಿಚಾರಗಳು.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇರೋದು, ಮೊದಲನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಸಂದೇಶ ಏನು, ನೀವು ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನ್ ಕಲಿತೀರಾ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದ ಮೂಲಕ ಆ ಒಂದು ಚೌಕಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಮತ್ತೇನಾದ್ರು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಮ್ಮ?
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಇಷ್ಟೇ.
ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಮ್ಮ.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. ಪದ್ಮಾಜಿ?
Yes, sir. Sir, so in this chapter, in the first chapter, Bhagavad Gita itself is primarily only a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. However, in this chapter, we can also see that Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra are also speaking in this chapter. So here, if we see Arjuna, this chapter is about Arjuna's grief or his suffering. So why is Arjuna suffering? What is the reason why he is suffering? So the reason he is suffering is because there is a lot of confusion within him as to, in this war where everyone is in some way related to him, how do I kill him? Or if I kill him, will I not gather papa? All these kind of questions are arising in his mind. So there is a lack of clarity in what he should be doing or what action he should be taking in such kind of a situation. So here what we see is Dhritarashtra is speaking. He is asking Sanjaya, who is the witness to all this. He has some intuition because of which he is able to witness this war, although he is not part of the war as such. So he is the one who is witnessing the entire war and describing it to Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is someone who is ignorant. He is blind in the physical sense, but he is also blind mentally. And there is if we see Dhritarashtra's character itself, he has always been ignorant of what is truly happening in his kingdom and between Kauravas and Pandavas. And I think he is, because of that, the war has been created between these two sets of brothers, and he is still so anxious. He is always anxious about what is the result of this war going to be, and that is all his questions that is stemming to he's putting across to Sanjaya is based on this anxiety and this worry of who is going to win this war. And similar situation is what we are seeing in Arjuna, but it is a different kind of the worry that what am I supposed to do here? Although I came here for the war and it is going to start any minute, is it the right course of action? So this is the kind of thought process that we also have, I feel, in when situations come into our life. Many times we experience this lack of clarity as to what we should do, because we have attachments to the people or the situations that we are currently in, which does not give us clarity of how we should be functioning or how we should be acting in that situation. So I think what Arjuna is going through is what we also go through in our own personal life. That is what I feel, sir. So at the end of the chapter is where he surrenders to Krishna, and once we surrender and then the reins of our mind come into Krishna's hand, and then we get the clarity.
Thank you, Padmaji. Let's just take a look at the sequence in which different characters speak in the very first chapter. In a way, every arrangement, for example, why the 18 chapters, or why the particular chapter has been named in a particular way, and what is the sequence in which a particular conversation begins, everything has a significance in Bhagavad Gita. A question is not asked before it is supposed to arrive. See, for example, when you say, I'm very hungry, and your mother gives you some food, until that food comes, imagine it's a new dish. You've never eaten that. And it has some new things on the plate. Until the dish arrives, you may not be able to ask the question, okay, how do I eat this? Should I eat this with hand? Or should I eat this with spoon? Should I cut it open? All these questions are relevant when the dish is in front of you. Till then, what was the primary question? I am hungry, give me something. And when you're eating that dish, when you cut it open, then another question may begin. Oh, when I cut it open, there is this white thing, there's a blue thing. I'm just imagining something, okay? So you can imagine whatever dish you are thinking of. So like that. So then another question comes. Should I eat the blue first or the green first? Then, they may say, okay, why don't you mix them and see? Okay, first eat the blue alone, then eat the green alone, then mix them and see. So like that, there is a sequence. So questions also in your life and my life, there's a sequence when you notice. So therefore, first let us notice what is the sequence in which the conversations begin. Who speaks first? After the very first opening prayer, Dhritarashtra Uvacha. The very first person who speaks is Dhritarashtra. Then who speaks? Sanjaya. Then it's not explicitly said, but whose conversation is he narrating? Duryodhana's. So 3 characters already. And then comes somewhere there Arjuna. Okay. Much later, after all this grand revision of what is happening, what is being said till Arjuna speaks is all about grand revision. Duryodhana is looking at all the people. He is taking account. He's an accountant there. Which is bigger, which is smaller. His accounting is all based on numbers and whatever the things that are gathered there. Then somewhere there is where Arjuna starts speaking. But you must also have noticed Krishna also speaks in this chapter. A very, very small sentence he speaks. So, what is the significance of all this? And the order in which they are speaking. So there is Dhritarashtra, there is Sanjaya, there is Arjuna, the Duryodhana, there is Arjuna, Krishna. And the one who speaks the least in this chapter is Krishna. So, why Dhritarashtra should have begun conversing Bhagavad Gita? Why did Vyasa Maharshi choose Dhritarashtra uvacha. Who is Dhritarashtra? You already said, many of you said, and you know, is the ignorant mind. So our life journey begins in ignorance, in darkness, until we completely realize the life begins in ignorance. Ignorance about what? Ignorance about the reality of life. Ignorance about who I am. And what is that is constantly guiding me? My own thought processes, my own impressions. Sanjaya, in a way, Sanjaya is that purified intellect which can give you the right direction. But that intellect is guided by you, Dhritarashtra. What are you guiding it? You're guiding it for, tell me what is happening in the battlefield. That is how the Dhritarashtra's question begins. Tell me what is happening in the battlefield. My children and Pandu's children, what are they doing? So he's already established in the ignorance of me and mine and others. That's what you see in the very first starting shloka. That's the starting point of our journey. Me and mine and others and theirs. What is mine? Which is better? What did they say to me? What did they do to me? That is the starting point for our life journey, is it not? Dhritarashtra. Why that me and mine is coming in the first place? What is me and mine? Me and mine is nothing but some kind of a boundary that we are drawing around what is mine and what is not mine. So the very first thing that you and I tend to think about me is this body. If you were to simply close your eyes and imagine what is you or what is me, what is the first idea that comes to you is about, okay, I am sitting here. If I ask you to write an outline of you, what outline will you write? Outline of your body. Sitting here, wherever you are. And then if I prompt you, what else is you? Then slowly you may start thinking, what else is me? Okay, my husband, my wife, my children. Okay, my house. Okay, like that, one by one, you start attaching things around this outline. But all of this put together is what you then call as me and mine. So there is some kind of a boundary, no? Your house has a boundary, your wife has a boundary, your husband has a boundary, your children, your degree. So everything has some kind of a notion, some kind of a boundary around it, some kind of an outline. Just like how your body has an outline, all these other possessions have an outline. And what do you call as not mine? Whatever is outside of this boundary. That tree, that is outside of this boundary. That gutter, outside of boundary. That mountain, outside of the boundary. So when you look at it, what is inside of your boundary, is that bigger? Or what is outside of your boundary bigger? Whatever is inside of your boundary is much smaller than what is outside, is it not? Please look at it. Please see. What is outside of your boundary? That mountain. How big is that mountain? That ocean. How big is that ocean? The rest of the earth. How big is that rest of the earth? Sun. How big is our sun? That galaxy. How big is the galaxy? Whatever you and I call as me and mine, in comparison to all this, must be the most tiniest little dot. If you were to show all of this in a picture, all that I call as me and mine can be kind of a dot or not even a dot, and rest everything is all these big things. That is the starting point of our journey. This tiny thing, somehow trying to capture and preserve what is me and mine against such a huge and vast and infinite cosmos. What a setup. What a losing battle, is it not? Such a huge thing. When will it gobble me up? Don't know. But somehow I'm so preserving. I'm so worried about me and mine. What will happen to me? What will happen to my children? What will happen? What will happen to my money? What will happen to my age? What will happen to my health? We are so cautious, so worried, so wondering, guarding, all the time getting anxious. So what is the thought process that comes out of such an ignorance? Duryodhana. Who is the son of Dhritarashtra? Duryodhana. And what is he also fighting for? How do I preserve what I have already captured? That's his first instinct. I have to preserve what I've captured. This is something that should have been mine, and now I want to fight for it. And how do I win? By showing increase in numbers. My army, my army. Who are all in my army? He's asking Bhishma. Instead of asking Bhishma for, you seem to have such a divine knowledge. Can I learn the divine knowledge? He's asking Bhishma, tell me the accounting of these two armies. Who will win this war? That's the question that comes to an ignorant, that's the ignorant thought that comes to an ignorant mind. Is it not? So life is all about accounting. What did I lose? What did I gain? And there comes then Arjuna. Arjuna is Pandu's putra. So Arjuna is that, like that song goes, no? I must have done something good in my life. So whatever the good I have done in my life is what has led to the Arjuna quality to develop in me. What is Arjuna quality? Focus, dedication, inclination towards certain higher principles. Though when he went to seek help from Sri Krishna, he had not yet been taught Bhagavad Gita. But somewhere Arjuna knew that with Sri Krishna only that, I can be finding the real deliverance of life. Though he had not yet been taught Bhagavad Gita, before leading up to Bhagavad Gita, both Arjuna and Duryodhana go. Dhritarashtra's son Duryodhana, Pandu's son Arjuna, both go. To who? To Krishna. What does Duryodhana pick up from Sri Krishna? Duryodhana is the one who's given the choice. What do you want? Me or my army? Of course, Duryodhana picks army. He's very happy picking the army. Why? Wow, so many of them. This tiny, puny, little fellow, Sri Krishna, what use? Just one tiny fellow. That's the thought process of Duryodhana. What does Arjuna pick? Sri Krishna. Has he been already taught Gita? No. But somewhere there is a natural inclination in you. You know naturally, you know within you what is the truth in life. You naturally gravitate. In any situation, please see. Do you like anger or peace? You have a natural inclination. Do you like to have fighting or enjoyment, having fun of being together? You have a natural answer. I don't have to feed the answer to you. You know it. So there's a natural feeling, there's a natural inclination towards the Sri Krishna in you. And that's the choice he also makes. Who? Arjuna. However, even that Arjuna within you and me, even though he's making the right choices, somewhere the completeness of the knowledge is not there. Sri Krishna is not fully established. I have not yet given guidance of my life to Sri Krishna. I, Arjuna, still have to guide. Who? Sri Krishna. That's why I tell Krishna, take my ratha in between. So I am still looking out for, okay, how do I run through this maze called life? Even Arjuna is not yet fully free. However, he has the wisdom to be with Sri Krishna. That's the first wisdom. That's the first choice he has made. However, because the knowledge is not complete, he is not yet free. So he also gets into a illusion called grief. My God, I'm going to kill my own kinsmen. Look at the thought process of Duryodhana. Duryodhana is simply done with who is going to win the war, who are the best people in my side, who are the best people in your side. But the shoka happens to Arjuna. Am I making the right choice? Is this the right choice? Is this the right next step in life? What is it going to lead to? What is the outcome of all this? That question is coming in the mind of Arjuna, not for Duryodhana. Duryodhana is all for only who's going to win, who's going to lose. Do I have enough? But something far more deeper is happening in Arjuna. Though he is also looking at the war and the numbers, but something far more deeper is happening. Something is waking up within him. Something far more fundamental is asking, is this the right choice? Is this what I should be doing at this point of time? Is this the right fighting? What is the use of all this? Look at the outcome of this. It is going to cause so much of destruction. Is this the right step? Very important awakening. Very, very important. What am I doing in my life? Where the life choices are leading me to? Where am I going? What will all this mean? What is the outcome of all these steps that I'm taking in life? What do I want out of life? Unless these fundamental questions come, unless this awakening happens, the rest of Bhagavad Gita, where the wisdom of life comes through Sri Krishna, will not make any sense. It will simply be another story. It will simply be another statement. Sri Krishna told like this to Arjuna, Ante. Krishna heladnante Arjunange. It is still going to be narrated as if two people spoke. Do you know that shloka in chapter 3 is seventh shloka? Yeah, I can quote. It becomes a mere quoting of shloka. In order for this to become a life transforming knowledge, I have to wake up to the fundamental questions. What am I doing? With whatever I'm doing, where am I going? What is that outcome of life? Not with what I'm going to eat today, what I'm going to work on today, but what is the sum of all these steps that I'm taking? Where am I going to? Who is that who's going? So unless this questioning starts earnestly, I won't be able to realize the essence of Bhagavad Gita given through the rest of the chapters. So waking up the Arjuna in me, is the most essential thing. Who am I? What is my purpose in life? Where am I going? What is this thing called as life? All these fundamental questions. And one by one, as we go through subsequent chapters, we'll start seeing how each one of them is so beautifully and very clearly brought out. Hari Om. Is there any additional questions or any additional statements anybody wants to make? If not, shall we end our contemplation here? So in our next session, Padmaji and all others also, please share your view. Shall we switch to chapter 2, or is there any more things to discuss in chapter 1? What is the opinion of each of you?
ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಸರ್, ಇದು ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ
Yes, sir.
ಎಲ್ಲ.
That's what you feel? Okay.
Same here, sir.
Same here. Okay. Krishnaji,
Yes,
Kaveri,
second chapter we can move on.
we'll go to second chapter.
ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಇರ್ಲಿ ಸರ್.
We'll go to second chapter. Wonderful.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
Very nice. So then shall we chant this, Padmaji? And then we'll go to ending prayers.
Huh.
You can chant, Padmaji.
Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama Prathamodhyayaha. Om. Truth is, thus in the Upanishads of the glorious Bhagavad Gita, the science of the eternal, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjuna, ends the first discourse entitled The Yoga of Arjuna's Grief.
Thank you, Padmaji. Thank you all. Hari Om.